Hello friends, it's Kristie Marcotte. Spellbinders just released their tiered tray collection, and this was designed by Becky Roberts, also known as Inking Idaho. She is a super talented crafter, and I will add a link to her blog in the description box below. There are 2 die sets and also a sentiment set. There's the original tiered tray die, so all the pieces you need to create your adorable tiered tray. There's the tiered tray decor die set that has lots of fun images so you can decorate up your tiered tray. And then there's also the tiered tray sentiment set. 16 stamps, there's a couple of images and the rest are sentiments, and this is a great set that you can use year round. I love finding new sentiment sets, and this one is perfect. My favorite sentiment, and probably the one I'll use the most, is Oh Hello. I have a couple of cards to share with you using the new tiered tray release. Go ahead and start with card design number 1. I have some white cardstock for the background. Using the Hot Tub ink color from Catherine Pooler, I put a very light coat of ink more in the center on that piece of white cardstock. Then using the same Hot Tub ink color, I'll also add a little bit of splatter to the background. Once that's all dry, I'll layer my white cardstock panel on some dark brown cardstock. I'll stamp the sentiment, "You are top tier," in the upper right hand corner, and I am using my mini Misti just to make sure I get a good solid impression. The ink color I use for the sentiment is the S'mores ink color from Catherine Pooler. Next, I'll put some ATG tape on the back and add my card front onto a card base. Now I'll start assembling one of the tiered trays, and I cut this out using some pattern paper from Honeybee Stamps. This is their Grain and Grunge collection. I love all the different wood grain designs. The tiered tray die set is designed for 2 different levels, although you could add a third if you're making a larger size. My cards in this video are all American Standard A2 size, 4¼ inches by 5½ inches. So there's really not enough room to add a third level. There's a separate die for the feet, so you could use a different cardstock for that, but I decided just to go with the same wood grain pattern. I'm adding a little bit of ink to the edges of the tiered tray pieces. This is the Ground Espresso Distress Oxide ink color. Now I'll start assembling the tiered tray. I'll start with the base level, add the longer post, and I'm putting just a little bit of liquid adhesive at the bottom of that post. Now I'll add the top tray and the top post. There's also a die to add the decorative handle at the very top, and I cut this out from some brown pearlescent cardstock. So there is the tiered tray all assembled. I love how it has the cutout on the trays so you can tuck all your decor pieces right inside. I've already cut out all of the pieces that I'll be adding onto my tiered tray. I have the cutting board in dark brown, and I did add the little leafy branch image with some gold embossing powder. I have a set of books, and I stamped the Home Sweet Home sentiment on those. A white picture in the background. I'll be adding one of the adorable gnomes, and I did add a little bit of ink to the edge of the gnome's hat just for some separation, since I used the same blue cardstock for the books and the gnome. I cut out 2 teal pumpkins, and I'll add a little bit of ink to the edge of the pumpkins. This is the Daydream ink color from Catherine Pooler. I used the same dark brown cardstock for the stem of the pumpkin. I'll just attach that using a little bit of liquid adhesive. The next item is a flower pot and plant, and I used some teal glitter cardstock for the flower pot. Just assemble all of those pieces. I love the etched detail on all of the die cut pieces. It really adds a lot to the images. I'll also be adding the letterboard image. I cut out the frame from some dark brown cardstock, and the inside I used some white shimmer cardstock. Then I'll attach the sentiment "Hello." I put some double-sided tape on the back to hold the frame and the inside portion together. Once all of the decor pieces are assembled, the fun part is tucking them into the tiered tray. And it's nice that the die set has lots of filler pieces. So there's a bunch of branches, leaves, there's a tiny acorn, plenty of images to fill up your tiered tray. Once mine's all finished, I'll put some liquid adhesive on the back and adhere it onto my card. And I'll make sure to get liquid adhesive on the back of all of those pieces, just in case I didn't adhere them very well inside the tier tray. I'll press it down, making sure all of the pieces are attached to my card. And I decided for this card not to add any bling. I really like the clean look with the background and the tiered tray. So there is my finished card, and I did make 2 using this design. I love the brown, white, and teal together. Now moving on to card design number 2. For pattern paper, I'll be using 2 collections from 49 and Market, Strawberry Lemonade and also Tidal Wave. I'm using one of the designs from the Strawberry Lemonade collection for the background of the card, layering it on some dark brown cardstock and then again on some pink cardstock. Put some ATG tape on the back and add my card front onto a card base. I cut out the tiered tray pieces from the Strawberry Lemonade collection. Thought it would be really fun to have a pink tiered tray. I used some dark gray pearlescent cardstock for the feet and also the handle of the tiered tray. Now I'll start assembling all the fun decor images. I'll be adding a cute little pink house. I used some white shimmered cardstock behind the windows and the door. Then I have some light gray cardstock for the roof. I used some yellow pattern paper for the picture. I did cut off the bottom of the picture to make it a little bit shorter. Most of the decor pieces were cut out from the pattern paper. There's a few I used solid cardstock. I used some craft cardstock for the cutting board. I'll just tuck that behind the picture. I'll add a pretty pink flower on the left side of the lower tier. I'm adding a gnome to the top tier, and I cut him out from some pink cardstock, and he has a gray beard and dark brown shoes. I used the frame from the letterboard and stamped the sentiment on the inside. Couldn't resist adding the "Oh Hello" sentiment. I cut out the branch from some dark brown cardstock, and I'll adhere that on the top tier. And I'll also add a couple of leaves to the branch, and I cut these out from some of the yellow pattern paper. Now I have my tier tray all finished. I decided this time I'll pop it up using some foam dimension. I'm using the thin foam strips from Honeybee Stamps, trying to make sure to get good coverage so there isn't any areas that sag down. Then I'll remove the release paper and adhere my tier tray onto my card. I love the fun summery looking colors I used for this card, although it still works year round. I've been making so many Christmas cards lately, it was nice to take a little break. I'll put liquid adhesive on the back of the handle, and I'll also add a little bit of foam dimension to the back of a couple of the leaves. For a final finishing touch, I'm using a white gel pen and adding a few highlights to the tiered tray and also some of the decor pieces on the tiered tray. And this card will just have the one sentiment on the outside. Later, I may add another sentiment on the inside of the card, but right now I don't know who the card recipient will be, so I'll leave it blank. So there is my finished card, and again, I did make 2 using this design. I love how this card turned out with the cute pink tiered tray. Now here's another look at the 4 cards I made using Spellbinders' brand new tiered tray collection designed by Becky Roberts. If you are interested in any of the products I used in this video, I do have links provided in the description box below. Thank you so much for watching, and I hope you have a wonderful day.